What is your favorite part of the Olympics?
Gymnastics.
Windsurfing.
Windsurfing.
I think it's quite amazing that everybody around the world is just gathering for such a sportive event, and that everybody's got a chance to win something and to give the best of themselves.
I think this year, because it's in London, I think that's the most exciting part for us, really.
I love the competition. I just love seeing people compete.
Time off work, probably.
So what have you guys done to prepare for the Olympics?
Nothing. Nothing at all, because I'm not in it.
We tried to get some tickets, we got none.
We got none. We were very disappointed. We really tried our best.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
How do you intend to stay healthy during the Olympics?
That's a good one. I'm going to eat the same as I eat now.
Run. Doing some running. I'm preparing for a marathon at the end of the year, so doing some running at the minute, so shedding the pounds.
Well, we walk quite a bit.
Turn the TV on and watch it from there, you see.
The 95th of the Olympic Games, 10,500 athletes, 8.8 million tickets, 34 venues. Athletes and spectators have rejoiced and suffered alongside one another for centuries. There have been epic victories, historic defeats, tears of ecstasy and pain, all within the Olympic venues. And July 27th, the opening ceremony for London 2012 will bring more than 300,000 people together per day, in addition to the normal amount of London tourists for the beginning of the world's greatest sporting event.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to the Olympic Park.
But on the other side of the Olympic Park fences, a different game is played. Though they aren't competing, visitors and natives may have to prepare to stay healthy during the Olympics anyway. When these millions of people cross paths, they will have to avoid some serious risks that come hand in hand with mass gatherings.
Well, the key thing when you're looking at large events like the Olympics is about kind of prioritizing certain risks for attention. Whether you should focus on security, whether you should look on health, or whether you should look on other types of issues.
Health-related issues pose a massive challenge to the London Organisation Committee of the Olympic and Paralympic Games, also known as LOCOG, when planning for such a big event.
Understanding what increased population flows, increased numbers of people arriving from overseas, what kinds of risks they might bring, and actually how diseases might be transmitted during the Olympics. And so on that hand, you have the kind of modelling, and you also have to, I think it's also key to have a sense of what emergency, what contingency planning the organisers would put in place in the case of an outbreak of contagious disease.
According to Professor Jennings, the nature of managing health risk is to know that you can't stop things from going wrong, so you better be prepared. There are three main categories to focus on when managing health risks. They revolve around minimizing the spread of communicable diseases, sexually transmitted infections, and non-communicable diseases.
Your town is being quarantined.
We got 19 dead. You got 100 more infected. It's spreading like a brush fire.
What are you talking about?
If one of them's got it, then 10 of them have got it now. And if one of them gets out of Cedar Creek, we have a very interesting problem.
It might seem extreme. Hollywood interpretations of how contagious diseases spread terror within a community. But planning the Olympics is also preparing for the worst case scenario. And that means figuring out just what to do if an outbreak does happen. A communicable disease can be spread from one person to another person or through contact with something that is infected. Some of the common risks people face are food poisoning and diarrhea. Less common are measles and tuberculosis or respiratory diseases such as the flu or meningitis.
So there isn't likely to be a huge outbreak of respiratory disease, but we do have in place special surveillance systems and diagnostic testing systems to make sure that if anything does happen, we will be on top of it very quickly.
In the United Kingdom, doctors use standard clinician reporting to make certain that the Health Protection Agency, or HPA, is aware of any unusual diagnosis. In the past 10 years, that model has been supported by what is called syndromic surveillance, a system where the HPA records what complaints the patients take to their doctors. For example, the HPA can analyze the symptom patterns and can learn of the annual flu season 2 weeks earlier than normal. If the normal patterns change during the Olympics, it will trigger an alert and investigation.
So we have all those systems running for the Games. But in addition, because of the number of visitors coming from abroad, we've put the same sort of system into hospitals and the out-of-hours system that primary care use. We've had 2 new systems in place for the Games, and they will stay on after the Games as part of our legacy.
The reason visitors and Londoners alike face increased risk is because when a lot of people from all over the world gather in a limited area, they're exposed to health threats they wouldn't normally meet. Residents of the state of British Columbia experienced this firsthand when a measles outbreak hit after the Winter Olympics in Vancouver 2010. Because of thorough vaccination, measles are almost eliminated in Canada. In British Columbia, only 4 cases are reported every year. For the 2 months after the Games, British Columbia residents experienced 85 cases of the highly contagious disease. 60% of those sought medical care, and 20% wound up in hospitals.
We are alert to it, and we will be looking forward, and we have plans, if you like, that we could go in and vaccinate if we had to.
The only way to prevent measles is to be vaccinated, but since communicable diseases spread through contact, hygiene and sanitation are also valuable tools for people to stay on top of health issues.
The standard precautions we advise, as always, are be up to date with your vaccination program. If you're travelling, you always should do that, whether it's the Olympic Games or just travelling. And the basic things like good hand hygiene and good respiratory hygiene. Don't sneeze over people. If you're ill, stay at home.
Apart from covering your mouth when sneezing, knowing what you're eating and drinking can keep you healthy as well. The HPA works together with the local authorities to assure water and food sanitation. But with an increased number of street vendors, keeping a high level of food safety can be a challenge.
There's a group that we chair with them to look at any issues that might arise during the Games to make sure they have any extra capacity they need for the summer.
Though the consequences of this risk could be great and the preparations are extensive, the reality of the threat comes in at a bronze level. This is the least likely health threat during the Olympic period.
I'm here to tell you about contraception.
Safe sex, you see, whether it's a baby or an STD. Wrap up your junk and you will see you can avoid a huge catastrophe.
Though a slightly less panic-causing risk, the chance of increasing the spread of sexual transmitted infections, or STIs, such as chlamydia, gonorrhea, and HIV, is a real possibility. Because once their favorite teams are out of the running, fans have a lot of free time on their hands.
If you see a nice guy or girl, of course you like this person, but you don't know anything about this person's sexual relation before they met you. So they could have 10 different partners in advance, or they could only have one, but you don't know. So I think the key point is that you should protect yourself, because nobody else does.
Since 1992, game organizers have provided athletes with free condoms. In Beijing, they provided more than 100,000 condoms to the Olympic Village. However, there aren't many published numbers on the spread of STIs within spectator groups during past games. So what does Lowcock and the National Health Service, or NHS, need to do for those not on the track or in the pool? Maybe not a whole lot.
But of course it's a huge gathering, so you could expect maybe there would be a little peak in the STDs. In London they are quite prepared, I think, because they have a long tradition for having open clinics for STD, and they have specialists who are only specialized in sexually transmitted diseases, so they have a long tradition to deal with problems like that.
Visitors can take part in that tradition by using these already established clinics and treatment options. Condom company Durex will launch an Olympic-themed public health campaign in cooperation with the NHS that will reach out to those outside of the Olympic Village. Whether this risk really threatens the future of London is not something that can be measured on a graph. Much like the risk of other communicable diseases, the preparation is more a precaution than an expectation.
It's a multicultural society already, and lots of people come into London from all over the world, normally on a regular basis. So it's difficult to say if there'll be a difference.
The spread of STIs is a problem that people everywhere face despite the Olympic year. Though the risk may rise with excited spectators looking for a little fun, it remains at a silver level.
Too much sun is no fun.
Help! I'm on fire!
When the sun rises over London, it brings more than just good weather to the spectators. It's another day to battle one of the most common dangers to those attending the Games: sun poisoning. When looking at the history of the Olympics, non-communicable diseases, Diseases that can't be spread from person to person have proved to be the biggest health risk at the Games. This was obvious during the 1996 Olympics in Atlanta, where more than 1,000 people were treated at the Olympic healthcare centers for heat stroke. London doesn't boast the same high temperatures as Atlanta, but that doesn't mean attendees won't have to worry. Dehydration and physical exertion play a role in heat stroke as well. With non-communicable diseases holding the gold standard of risk, many may wonder what exactly the positive side of hosting the Olympics is with so many potential disasters for all involved.
All the benefits of the Olympics and the similar events tend to be quite soft and kind of in the relation of soft power and the international sphere, reputation of host cities and so forth. I think the interesting question will be is what really changes about the world's perception of London after the Olympics, and it's not clear to me what extra will gain from that.
For the NHS, they hope that the gain will include a healthy London beyond the Games. Using the festival effect, the NHS is jump-starting Go London, a program that encourages Londoners to be more active and more healthy. The Games could be the much-needed catalyst for a health legacy for all of us, the first the world has seen, but only if we work together to make it happen. The campaign is spotlighting more than 20 different programs that encourages healthier lifestyles. Brent Inspires began in 2009. It encourages schools and organizations in the Brent Borough to put on their own activity that teach the value of the Olympics. When they achieve certain goals, they receive medals on the Brent Inspires website. At the Brentfield School, the program isn't only teaching good sportsmanship, but healthy habits as well.
They start discussing about what kind of food we should eat. It can help me to boost me more for the next competition or activity. And they start asking during the lunchtime for banana and apple and all those things rather than asking for chocolate and crisp.
Though the program is in its final year, people like Patel are hoping to see its positive effects carry on after the Olympics.
Because our school had a lot of behavior problem, but since we start putting them in the games and all, they don't have time to do any fighting.
The NHS hopes that London will take away more than just a medal count from the Games, though most will be able to breathe a sigh of relief when the Olympic torches move to Rio de Janeiro. Maybe the light of a healthier lifestyle will live on in a London legacy that reaches beyond the rings. People face these same threats every day, but the mass gathering of the Olympics work as a magnifying glass for how to prepare for and prevent the outbreaks of communicable diseases, STIs, and non-communicable diseases. When the final medals have been presented, the biggest victory for London might be healthier lifestyles for Londoners, the improved healthcare system set in place for the Games, and a reminder that basic rules we all learned in kindergarten still apply. Wash your hands, cover your mouth when you sneeze, and always, always cheer for the underdog.